As a transportation agency, DelDOT is all about building projects. From bike paths to constructing new intersections and highways, we are an agency constantly on the move and working to provide Delawareans with excellence in transportation to improve safety, mobility, and support a strong economy. Often, however, the public is unaware of the process involved in taking an initial project idea and turning that idea into a transportation project ready for construction. How are transportation projects created? As we will find out, the journey of every project always begins with a single step. For DelDOT, that first step is our planning studies pipeline. The pipeline is where we identify transportation needs by gathering, sorting, and evaluating new project and study suggestions. Suggestions for a project or study can come from a variety of sources, including citizens, legislators, metropolitan planning organizations, counties, or even DelDOT itself. Suggestions usually identify some type of transportation need, such as road insufficiencies, safety enhancements, or new infrastructure. The DelDOT Division of Planning submission portal is the first stop in the journey. It's here where someone can provide the department with the location of a recommended project or study and a brief description of their concern or issue. Once a suggestion has been submitted, DelDOT performs an initial screening of each suggestion to make sure that the provided information is accurate, followed by an evaluation that includes research to determine if there are any existing or planned projects or studies that are already programmed that would address the problem described in the submission. Once these steps are completed, the pipeline team prioritizes each submission to determine if 1. The suggestion is best addressed by another team within DelDOT, or 2. If a new planning study is warranted. We've now completed the first leg of our journey. We're now ready for the second leg of our project journey, conducting and completing transportation studies. Once an idea or suggestion for a study has been screened, evaluated, and prioritized, it's time for that study to be assigned to either a Metropolitan Planning Organization or MPO or relevant DelDOT section, such as the Division of Planning, Traffic Studies, Transportation Management Center, or Project Development. DelDOT maintains a database of study suggestions. This list helps inform MPO work programs and is updated and monitored to ensure we have the most up-to-date and accurate database. After a study has been assigned, funded, and a team assembled, it's time to involve the public. At DelDOT, we understand that no study can be successful without extensive public outreach and involvement. The department is constantly striving to improve public participation by investing and leveraging new techniques and technologies that help us listen to all Delawareans, including those who have been underrepresented in the past. Let's take a moment and review the 3 types of studies that emerge from the planning studies pipeline that I described earlier. Sufficiency studies. These usually take 6 months or less and are primarily a technical review of recent traffic trends, near-term forecasts, recent and anticipated land use growth, as well as a review of roadway and intersection conditions, as well as bike, ped, and transit conditions. The goals of these studies are primarily to identify if 1. A smaller improvement could go directly to a group program, or 2. If these conditions warrants a full study. Area-wide and corridor studies. These can take between 1 and 3 years, depending on the complexity of conditions and trends. These studies have ongoing public outreach and direct public participation in developing alternatives and arriving at a consensus on recommendations. The goals of these studies is to identify recommendations that A, can go directly to a CTP group program, B, may need to go to the CTP for prioritization and then on to DOT's PD North or South teams, or C, are longer-term improvements that must first be listed on an MPO long-range plan. Planning Environmental Linkages Study, or PEL. This type of study may be identified by an area-wide or corridor study if information gained during those studies indicates potential or likely recommendations that may be developed that would benefit for a PEL study phase. Data collection is the next step in a study. Data-driven solutions help us determine which projects will yield the best return on investment and provide transparency in our decision-making process. Typically, DelDOT will collect information such as traffic counts and forecasts, land use information on new housing and employment trends and comprehensive plan changes, safety information including crash data, bicycle and pedestrian data, and transit patterns. With all of our data assembled, it's time to analyze the data. Different metrics such as intersection level of service, future land use demographic forecasts, and crash statistics help us determine which locations are greatest in need for improvement or mitigation strategies. Extensive data analysis allows the department to work directly with the public and other stakeholders to identify and evaluate options and paths forward for alternatives. Alternatives seek to balance a proposed solution to the transportation challenge best suited and most appropriate for each study. A series of recommendations is developed for each study. Recommendation types include DelDOT group programs, CTP projects, and MPO plans. All studies must have a clearly defined purpose and need, a documented public consensus, a standard project description, format, and descriptive information. This information needs to be easily understood with data and documentation to support the recommendations. Now it's time for our recommended study project to lift off. If a project is designated as short-term, it can be sent to DelDOT's Division of Transportation Solutions or the Transportation Management Center. These types of projects can usually be completed under a grouped program. Some examples include signing and striping improvements, signals or intelligent transportation management systems, selected safety improvements, selected bike or pedestrian enhancements. Midterm projects, usually 4 to 10 years, are prioritized through the department's capital transportation process, and if approved by the Council on Transportation, are then assigned to the DelDOT Project Development North and South teams for preliminary engineering, right-of-way, and construction. Examples of these types of projects could include corridor projects, intersection capacity improvements, new alignments. Long-term projects, usually 10 to 30 years, are included in the MPO's long-range plans or DelDOT's aspiration project list. Although the journey of a transportation project has been shown as a sequence from an idea to a concept, then on to alternatives, and finally recommendations, we emphasize that there is continual input from and communication with the public, stakeholders, and review agencies. Our DelDOT team routinely monitors trends and changes in traffic data and land use patterns that affect recommendations that arise out of our planning studies. As you can see, the journey of each project may take many different paths. DelDOT is committed to partnering with our customers along each step as we strive to provide excellence for every trip, in every mode, with every dollar, and for everyone.